Hello, everyone. I'm Sientir, and welcome to my Patron Podcast, a podcast where the topic is selected by my patrons over at patreon.com/Sientir. The chosen topic for this month of March 2021 is what is my preferred way to celebrate Holy Week, which is Palm Sunday to Easter, examples, palm waving, Easter bunny, last words, and etc. So this is a Christian religious celebration for those who may be unfamiliar with it. And like I said, Holy Week extends from Palm Sunday. That is the Sunday before Easter, commemorates Jesus being welcomed into Jerusalem, and ends with Easter, which is celebrating his resurrection. So there's a lot of different sort of traditional things, as suggested, palm waving, Easter bunny, last words. There's a lot of other things that we'll do. Easter egg hunts are an example of something that we will often do on Easter, as well as Easter baskets, things like that. And palm waving is typically done on Palm Sunday. Quite frankly, I don't have any particular strong feelings about Palm Sunday in general or palm waving. When I hear of Palm Sunday, what I actually typically think of is some tornadoes that went through, that I remember hearing people talk about when I was a kid. I think through the Midwest at some point. Palm Sunday tornadoes, something like that. I seem to recall something along those lines. A lot of the churches that I've been to don't necessarily or haven't necessarily done a whole lot, and I've not necessarily felt like I've wanted to do a whole lot for Palm Sunday itself. What I do like doing, the Easter Bunny is clearly a fabrication. I have no particular interest in the Easter Bunny itself, but I do like Easter baskets. I think it's fun to kind of have that sort of scavenger hunt of looking for a basket. And as an adult, you can kind of have candy whenever you want, but you really shouldn't. So it's nice to have special occasions to enjoy some candy, and whatnot. It's not a particularly religious thing, but there's just a strong tradition of an Easter basket that my family's done for quite a long time. So I have a lot of fond thoughts around that. There's also, like I said, Easter egg hunts. I think that's a great activity for kids. It's not something I personally am interested in myself at this point in time, although it does bring to mind a memory of going on an Easter egg hunt when I was 8 years old. I remember I was 8 years old because this is highly relevant to the story. And I remember distinctly so they let out the kids in two batches based upon their age, and I was always kind of short for my age, and I was very offended when I was thought to be younger than I was, and that really got me. So I distinctly remember that, which is, I don't know, a neutral memory in my mind now, but it was certainly upsetting at the time. Other than that, though, Easter eggs are not something I currently have much interest in. Although painting Easter eggs is actually kind of a cool activity and not something that I've done in a long time, now that I think about it. That might be something that'd be fun to try again, now that I think about it. Painting eggs. Haven't thought about that in a while. Eggs are a really popular Easter thing. They represent new life for a lot of people, and so that symbology is commonly used. New life in general. Part of what's happened with Easter is there's the Christian religious aspects, which are the ones that are more meaningful to me, with the resurrection of Christ from the dead and all of that. But there's also sort of a bundled in with it celebrations of spring and new life. And I think that's where a lot of the egg themes probably come from. But I also remember distinctly one year when we had, we being me and my sister, had grass that we grew in little baskets. And I just remember having the fresh smell of grass growing in my room and enjoying that. And part of me kind of would like to do that again too, actually. And I don't know why I haven't. But that would be kind of a neat thing to do. Not necessarily like a specific celebration, I guess, but it's kind of a way of celebrating, right? In terms of more actual religious celebrations, the thing that I actually like most is having a Good Friday service. I don't know if anybody else has this happen to them, but for the longest time, I had a real tendency to confuse Black Friday and Good Friday. Black Friday, of course, is the day after American Thanksgiving. So, the 4th Friday, or the Friday following the fourth Thursday in November, when there's all those sales going on. And that particular sort of event is, of course, a big sale thing leading up to Christmas. It has nothing to do with Easter. Good Friday is the day that we commemorate Jesus' death on the cross, the Friday before Easter. But that's associated with like blackness and sorrow and things along those lines. So it's very like Black Friday could just as easily describe Good Friday in my mind. So I have had a tendency to have them a little bit confused in my head. I think like over the past decade, I've finally gotten kind of a handle on it. But for a very long time, especially as a kid, when I'm not really looking at Black Friday sales at all, I had a real tendency to confuse the two. Bit of a tangent there, but words are sometimes confusing. But what I like is a Good Friday service where there's time to just have communion, and so the elements of there's so much religious jargon associated with all of this, as you'd expect. But having the bread that represents Jesus' body and the wine, or often grape juice, that represents Jesus' blood, is a way of remembering his sacrifice and remembering the new covenant he established by his sacrifice. The new covenant, as described in Jeremiah 31:31-34, talks about God establishing a new covenant that's based upon him alone and not having any requirement of human beings, because human beings were unable to live up to God's standards. That's sort of the general idea. So having a time to go through communion and remember that and think about the Last Supper, and then just thinking through that whole process of the sacrifice and the meaning of it, and then having an Easter morning service with an Easter service. It doesn't necessarily have to be morning. There's something a little bit special about morning on Easter in particular, but I don't like mornings too much when they have to make me get up too early, because I tend to have a little bit of a later schedule. So anyway, but just there is something that I like about a number of the traditional Easter songs, but I think the thing that I actually like most is the way that everybody in church goes around on Easter Sunday saying, "He is risen," and then the response, "He is risen indeed." That's something that I actually quite like. It's a simple thing, but it's a good sort of commemoration that we don't normally do. Like, that's not a normal thing for us to do. So having that is kind of a special activity, a special habit, pattern, I don't know, greeting, a special greeting. It's a special Easter greeting. And I quite enjoy that, and I'm quite fond of it. So yeah, the main things that I like then, I guess, to kind of summarize, I enjoy of Christmas, of Easter things. I enjoy Good Friday services, want to have communion during it, and especially think about the Last Supper and the death on the cross and all of that sort of stuff. And then and that sacrifice and the forgiveness of sins and the weight of sin and the significance of the cruelty that human beings inflict, but also that I do, and I don't want to be doing it either. I don't want to be causing suffering to others. And then thinking about how the weight of all of that, and then just celebrating the resurrection on Easter, and with just that simple "He is risen indeed" sort of pattern that it just highlights the significance of the day. And then for more almost kind of celebration of spring stuff, I do enjoy some candy in an Easter basket. And then, like I said, I think it'd be kind of fun to maybe do some Easter egg painting again or something. I don't know. And growing some grass sounds kind of nice. Anyway, those are my thoughts surrounding this particular topic. So for anybody who wants to suggest topics for next month, you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/Sientir. Thank you to the patrons for your support, as always. And until next month, everyone, take care and goodbye.